afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. I am Emma Harrison. I am your Liberal candidate for the riding of Peterborough. Isn't this exciting? Welcome to our beautiful riding of Peterborough, and thank you, Prime Minister Mark Carney, for joining us. It is truly a privilege to have him here. I would also like to welcome my fellow Liberal candidates, Tracy, John, Nell, and Chris. Across Canada, the Liberal campaign is built on hope and unity, and it's kept alive by the values that we, as Canadians, hold close to our hearts. Canadians from coast to coast have come together, as we always have, to unite and protect the country that we love. Right? Now, I ask you to bring that same passion to this moment. It is an absolute honor to introduce to you Prime Minister Mark Carney.
I am in God's country now. Holy smoke. Thank you, Emma, for that welcome. We have candidates, I say I'm in God's country, from the Bay of Quinte to here in Peterborough, up to Algonquin. What more? I mean, like, why? I'm going to stay here for the next... These candidates, working hard every day to fight for you, to fight for Canada. It is so good to be here. I am in the home. I always think, when I think of Peterborough, home of champions. Home of champions. Now, I'm a little older than some in this room. Not everyone in this room, a little older than some in this room. So when I think of Peterborough, I think of Bob Gainey, the legend. I think of Bob Gainey a lot because his daughter is a member of the party. I think of Roger Nielsen, more legendary. I think of Andrea Hunter, women's hockey pioneer. And we have a chance here in Peterborough to add another Peterborough champion, Emma. Send Emma to Ottawa. Man. But I want to start with a question. Who's ready? Who's ready? Qui est prêt? Who is ready to stand up for Canada? And who is ready? Who is ready to help the Liberal Party win the most consequential election of our lifetime? You know, I got into this. I first put up my hand to run for Liberal leader about, actually 3 months ago, almost 3 months ago to the day, at a hockey rink that I learned to play hockey in Edmonton. I put my well, it was only hands up at the time. It became elbows up very quickly. You're right. I put my hand up because I knew then that we needed big changes in Canada to get our economy back on track, to fight the cost of living, to help all Canadians get ahead. You know, and the approach I'm taking. Look, I'm not a career politician, and when I'm in the 45th minute of this speech, you're going to wish I was a career politician. But I am not a career politician. But what I am is a pragmatist. So when I see something that's not working, I change it. I change it. And that's what I did. That's what I did in my first week. In fact, in my first day as Prime Minister. Homes have become too expensive. We got to do a lot on that, and you're going to hear more on that. But the first thing we needed to do is cut taxes on them. So we cut taxes on new homes, saving $50,000 on new home purchases. You know, we had a capital gains tax hike, and the impact of that was going to stifle our builders, our innovators, the people who help grow this economy. So I got rid of it. I reversed it. Yeah. And the consumer carbon tax, good on paper, consumer carbon tax had become too divisive. So we eliminated it on day one. That effect, that's what people wanted. And you see it at the pump. Look, we didn't just cut things. We were building things. We're building things. And so, again, in the first week, we expanded the Liberal dental care plan to cover an additional 5 million people aged 18 to 64. Yeah. Pierre Poilievre, get rid of it. And one of the fundamental jobs is to protect our country. Yeah. So within the first few days, we struck a new deal with the European Union to protect our lives. On a renforcé nos relations commerciales avec l'Union européenne pour que nos exportateurs soient moins dépendants des États-Unis. Ouais. Oui. Et on a conclu une entente importante avec l'Australie et renforcé notre coopération militaire avec la France et le Royaume-Uni pour assurer la sécurité des Canadiens et Canadiennes. Ouais. Et on s'accélère la réalisation d'importants projets d'infrastructure. Et on a fait du Canada une superpuissance des énergies vertes et traditionnelles. Et on s'est entendu pour que chaque projet soit soumis à une seule évaluation. We are going to make this country an energy superpower and move forward. The end of my first week, a month ago today, sat down. This is much more fun than what I'm about to describe. But a month ago, I was sitting in a conference room in Ottawa with all the premiers of the provinces and territories. And it actually was quite productive. It was an open discussion. People met the moment. And we agreed to eliminate barriers to trade and workers moving in our country. And I thought to myself, when's the last time all the provinces agreed on anything? Except that they hate the federal government, which is okay. As long as they agree on stuff that works for Canadians, I'm fine. They can still hate me. Look, we need one Canadian economy, not 13. One Canadian economy. And my government, if we are elected, my government is going to do our bit. We will legislate away all federal barriers by Canada Day. Free trade in Canada by Canada. So, to show how it gets done, we announced major investments already in energy, LNG, in our ports and in our military. In 9 days in government, before we called this election, we did more than Pierre Poilievre has imagined in all his decades in politics. I counted that up. And it's true. And now, that is thank you. I want to go up there. That's what Pierre would have done. It's a spirit. I need to be sent back, though, to be Prime Minister. No, Pierre, yeah. Not sure. I'm not sure he has an imagination. He's just mimicking Donald. He's mimicking Donald. You know, what we've been doing this last month is to begin to show what we could do if you send us back. So on day one of our campaign, we announced a middle-class tax cut delivering savings of up to $825 per year per family. The next day, we released our plan to build a stronger, a better equipped, a modern Canadian Armed Forces to keep our nation safe and our sovereignty unchallenged. That's right. And then we went to Windsor because we could see what was coming. And we unveiled a strategy for a more resilient, a made-in-Canada auto sector. And we made our commitment to workers alongside them. We set out our plan to invest in our ports and our infrastructure connecting those ports so that we can diversify our trade away from the United States. Not a bad idea. We got other things to do. We're going to tell them we got other things to do. One of the other things we have to do is sort out housing. So it's one thing to reduce the taxes on housing, that's a start. But we need to build houses. We need to build millions of houses. We announced a strategy to double the pace of new home construction over the next decade. And you know how we're going to do it? We are going to cut a bunch of regulations. We're going to cut a bunch of costs. Absolutely, no question. But honestly, that is not going to be enough. That is not going to build enough houses on its own. We're going to get the government to come back in to build deeply affordable homes for those who most need it. And we're going to make that housing market, the private housing market, work better. We are in the process, though, we are going to build an entirely new housing industry in this country based on Canadian technology, Canadian mass timber housing, Canadian heating, Canadian jobs, Canadian skilled trades. You know, there is a common theme here. There is a common theme here. You know, we got to think about creating jobs. We got to create jobs. But we are not just going to create jobs in the housing sector and with all this building. We are going to create tens of thousands of new careers in the trades for Canadians. A big deal. Housing. So we did all of that in just a few weeks. And I think the question is, think what we could do together if the Liberal Party gets a strong, positive mandate from Canadians. We need that mandate because as a country we're going to have to step up. We are facing the most significant crisis of our lifetimes. We're facing that because of President Trump's unjustified, unwarranted, unwise tariffs and his threats to our sovereignty. You know, when I spoke to him, I told him I categorically reject any attempt to weaken Canada. Any attempt. I'll bring that. I might have to borrow that stick. I might bring the stick down to Mar-a-Lago. We reject any attempt to wear us down, because what they're trying to do is to break us so that America can own us. Never. That will never happen. That will never happen. You know, Canadians that's right. Never Canadians are over, I think we're over now the shock of this betrayal, but it was a shock. We're over the shock of the betrayal, but what we can never forget the lessons that we've been taught. Yeah. And the first one is that we have to look out for ourselves. We have to look out for ourselves, and we have to look out for each other. Together. We need to be united, a united front of workers, labor, business, governments, all levels of government, helping us to weather the storm. And that's why my government is committed to put every single dollar that we collect from the retaliatory tariffs that we're targeting the Americans with to protect our workers. Yeah. You know, we are fighting back. We're fighting back with tariffs that have maximum impact there, minimum impact here. Yeah. And, you know, we didn't ask for this fight. Nope. But Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. And in a trade war, just like in hockey, we will win. We will win. Now, you know, like many of you, I know hockey has played a big part in my life. I grew up with the values that I learned at the kitchen table, in the classroom, and on the ice. My parents were teachers, and they stressed, yeah, give it up. We're either teachers or we all at least know a teacher in this room, I think. Right? So give it up for teachers. That's what we need. You know, they stress the importance of working hard, supporting our community, and caring for other people. And my hockey coach has taught me to play hard, to be ambitious, but also, because it's Canada, be humble. Okay? Those are Peterborough values. Those are Canadian values. You know, and I kept those values in mind, kept them close to me when I was managing crises here in Canada and around the world. I remembered them whenever I was looking to build strong economies. And now I'm drawing on them to stand up to Trump and build the strongest economy in the G7, the economy that works for everyone in a drastically different way. Now, my opponent, Pierre Poilievre, doesn't get this. And I've seen it. I think I know why. Because I have seen this movie before around the world. There's a type of lifelong politician who worships at the altar of the free market despite never having actually worked in the private sector. And the reflex is always to cut, to destroy, and I'm afraid to divide. But this is no time for divisive, angry politics in Canada. No, no, no. Canada, negativity will not win a trade war. Negativity won't pay the mortgage or the rent. Negativity won't bring down the price of groceries. Negativity won't make Canada strong. And I don't think someone who believes that Canada is broken won't put it first. We are going to win this battle if we are united and strong. Nous gagnerons cette bataille si nous sommes unis et forts. Nous pouvons nous disputer au sujet de la politique. Nous pouvons nous disputer à propos de hockey. On pourrait même une fan des Oilers ici à Peterborough. Pas mal. Il y a plusieurs. C'est un pays libre, quand même. Mais quand il s'agit du Canada, nous sommes tous de même côté. Et on choisit d'être fort. Canada fort. You know what? It is our strength. It is our strength that the Americans want. They want our resources. They want our water. They want our land. They want our country. Never, never, never. Because Canada is not America. Canada is a mosaic. You look at this room. Look at this great room. We're all Canadians. We're all distinct. America's a melting pot. In America, healthcare is a big business. In Canada, it is a right. Aux États-Unis, on ne reconnaît pas les différences. On ne reconnaît pas le peuple autochtone. Et il n'y aura jamais de droit pour la langue française. Les États-Unis ne sont pas le Canada. Le Canada n'en ferait jamais partie, jamais. Canada will never, ever be part of America in any way, shape, or form. So, what do we do? What do we do now? What do we do now? Okay, I'm going to start. In a crisis, part of leadership, you got to distinguish between what you can change and what you can't. It's not a big insight, but we're not going to be able to change Donald Trump. And a person who worships President Trump, like Pierre Poilievre, will kneel down before him before he stands up to him. This is the risk. Everything on the table. As Premier Smith said, Pierre Poilievre is in sync with President Trump. In the sync, yes, in the sync. Okay. It must have been a typo. I'll change it here. And I asked this question the other night on the debate, that unlike Jagmeet Singh, Yves-François Blanchet, myself, Pierre Poilievre refuses for some reason to get his security clearance. It's 950 days and counting. I got mine in 3 weeks. What is he on? Look, you had to fill out a few forms, tell the truth, it wasn't hard. The issue is, it's being willfully blind to the many and growing threats to our country. No. Nous devons comprendre ce que nous devons changer. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. Nous pouvons contrôler notre destin économique avec un plan qui mettra plus d'argent dans vos poches. Un plan qui assurera que votre gouvernement dépense moins afin que le Canada puisse investir plus. We can control our destiny. We can control our destiny with a plan that meets the moment. So while Pierre Poilievre is focused on bringing back plastic straws, today it's an important issue. It's an important issue. I know it's like, I told you we have to be united. We got to be united on the plastic straw issue. If we can come together as a nation, it'd be great. What we did, It's we launched. We launched it. Thank you. We launched. Well, he was off doing that important work, meeting the moment in a different way. We launched our platform today, and it's a platform solely focused on how, in the worst crisis of our lifetime, we can build the strongest economy this country has ever seen. And it's a positive plan. It is a positive plan. It is about building. It is a positive plan that acts with overwhelming force to break through the anxiety and uncertainty that we feel, we face, business faces, and it replaces what Trump is taking away and builds an economy that will work for everyone. It is a plan. It is a plan where we bear down on government spending. We bear down on government spending. We balance our operational budget. We spend less so that Canada can invest more. It's a plan. It's a plan that makes big polluters pay instead of hardworking Canadians. Yeah. It's a plan that builds millions of homes, builds Canada into an energy superpower, builds new trade corridors with reliable trading partners. It's a plan that builds one Canadian economy, not 13, and it puts more money in your pockets. It is a plan that, even in the face of the worst that Donald Trump can throw at us, the worst he can do, it is a plan that will create $20,000 of new growth for every Canadian in the next 5 years. That's what we mean when we say Canada's strong. Before I finish, I want to say a few words. You can see when I get passionate about talking about the economy. Right? This is me looking passionate, by the way. That's what it looks like. That's my tell. I'll tell you when I'm passionate. Why am I and why are we Liberals passionate about building a strong economy? Well, it's not because we care about numbers. It's because we care about people. It's because we know that core point. We know that we are all in this together. Wait. Yeah. C'est pourquoi notre gouvernement a créé des places en garderie à $10 pour jour pour les familles canadiennes. That's why we created $10 day daycare. Et c'est pourquoi nous avons créé le régime de soins dentaires et l'assurance médicale. That's why we have dental care. That's why we have pharmacare. Tout va bien? Ça marche? Is that okay? Yeah. Can you just keep it down over there? I'm trying to make it sleep. Sorry. I know, actually, I know these times are unsettling. Apparently, they are very unsettling. No, but seriously, look, this is a difficult period, right? This weighs on us. It weighs on me. It weighs, I'm sure, on all of you. And a couple of weeks ago, I had an illustration of this. It really cut to the core. I met a teacher who had asked her 9- and 10-year-old students to describe their dreams for Canada. So that was the assignment. And she gave me the outcome of this. It was, no names, but just what the kids had written. And some wrote about a country free of poverty. Right? Others dreamt of clean air, clean water, or a place where everyone enjoyed, these are their words, equal rights, dignity, and respect. Okay? So these kids are like the kids being brought up here. Like the kids, they're being brought up well, they're being taught well. But you know what else? And this is what struck me. Many of the kids wrote about tariffs and threats to our sovereignty. I got to tell you, at that age, I hadn't met those words. I didn't know those words. And I'm going to quote one example where one student said, "I dream of a safe, a kind, and a clean Canada." Yeah. And then that student went on and said, "A Canada that is not the U.S." Our children should be able to dream of a positive future, not worry about an economic crisis. We can give them that future now. We can give them that future they deserve. And we will do it. We will do it not because it's easy, but because it is right. That's why I'm standing before you today. Canada, well, I owe Canada something because Canada has given me everything. My family, my education, and my values. And in return, I'm ready to give everything to Canada. So let's strong group of Peterboroughans to join me. Thank you very much. Let's build Canada strong.